Yep. Now. Get again. Go. Yep.
Ah, wait. This reminds me of MVP Baseball 2005. I missed that game.
This is SportsCenter.
Hey, I'm Marissa Roberto after a scrappy loss last night in Philly. The Leafs are back in action tonight taking on the Capitals. And it's a huge matchup for both teams that features two of the best goal scorers this game has ever seen. Let's start with Washington because coming into tonight, they kind of control their own destiny. They're a point back of Detroit for the final wildcard spot in the East, and 3 points back of Philly for third in the Metro, but do have 2 games in hand on both. The Caps have also won 3 in a row, and are defying the odds to what a playoff team looks like, because they have a minus 27 goal differential on the season. Since the year 2000, only 5 teams have made the postseason, with a negative goal differential in double digits. And just one of those 5 teams had a goal differential of minus 15 or worse, the 2011-2012 Panthers. The big reason why the Caps are still in the hunt despite that negative number, though, is their record in 1-goal games. We mentioned the goal scorers we're going to be keeping an eye on off the top, and obviously Ovi is one of them. It's been an off year for Ovi, but he seems to be finding his form of late. He scored 13 times in his last 21 games, and every goal he scores gets him that much closer to Gretzky, as he is now just 51 goals behind the Great One, and what seemed like a record that would never be beat. On the other side of the matchup, Austin Matthews is no longer on pace for 70. He's got just 3 goals in his last 11 games. But he's still 7 ahead of Sam Reinhart, who is second in the race for the Rocket. And he's also 7 ahead of Zach Hyman when it comes to even strength goals, as Matthews has 40 of those on the year. I just didn't have Matthews slowing down on my bingo card, you know? We even had him for an anytime goal scorer, but yesterday didn't happen. He's just, Poppy, what's good, man? Time now for my favorite segment and yours, Why We Love Sports Today.
Why we love sports today.
This is an ultra from Schalke, a team in Bundesliga 2. And if you're a German soccer fan, I feel like this is an important skill you need to have. Oh. Wow. Whoa. This is the best party trick you could possibly have. Yeah, the waving. Now is he gonna take one off and drink it? That's the question. It's day 3 of our CRAVE craze. And our bracket to find the best TV show on CRAVE had a major upset in the quarters. But let's start at the top of the bracket where our #1 seed in The Sopranos kept on trucking, knocking off Friday Night Lights with 67% of the vote. Hey! The Sopranos take on the winner of our tightest matchup, as Curb Your Enthusiasm squeaked by Succession with 55% of the vote. I will say I also voted Curb. And seeing Curb in the semis really makes me smile.
Smile.
Hey, mind your own business. How about that?
So who you got, Sopranos or Curb? This is gonna be a tough one for me personally. Like, I don't wanna go against the family, but I also really enjoy Larry David. So, I don't know, I think I gotta stick with the Paisan. I have to with this one. Our second tightest matchup of the quarters was between 2 cult classics, as The Office knocked off Friends 56% to 44%. And our final matchup of the quarters was perhaps the biggest shocker of the tourney. Not just that 7th-seeded Game of Thrones knocked off The Wire, but it's the way in which they dismantled them in an absolute beatdown. You know what they say though, it's all in the game.
All in the game.
But can Thrones keep this run going against The Office? Who am I voting for? I gotta go with the show that I binge. I don't binge Game of Thrones. I never have, never will. It's always gonna be The Office. So here's what your bracket looks like as we head into the semis. Sopranos taking on Curb, and Thrones taking on The Office. And just a heads up, if you're watching us on a platform that is not Instagram Stories and you want to vote, go to TSN's Insta Stories, just tap on through till you get to this lovely section here. It's a big night for the city of Toronto as AEW has hit the town for AEW Dynamite. And you can watch it on TSN at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. So with AEW in town, we got to speak to one of wrestling's biggest names in Adam Copeland, who played a little Fast Five with one of the biggest wrestling fans on the staff, my Kuji, Luca Celebre.
Thank you, Marissa. So happy to be joined by Adam Copeland of AEW. You can get your tickets for the Canadian tour, AEW Tix. We're going to do something we like to call Fast Five. You don't have to go super fast. You can kind of give some brief some detail in your answers.
Okay, good.
We're gonna get going here.
Because I get verbal diarrhea. So
first one, we'll start off with favorite wrestler of all time.
Oh,
I know. I know. I hate that.
You know, and it's going to vary from time to time. So, you know, it's going to be Bret Hart sometimes. It's going to be Nick Bockwinkel sometimes. It could be Terry Funk sometimes. You know, come on, man.
I know it's tough. That's tough.
Okay, I'm gonna say Brett.
Good Canadian boy. There we go.
Yeah.
Opponent that you haven't faced in AEW yet that you would like to someday down the road.
There's an entire list. You know, I look at it. It's Samoa Joe, Hangman Adam Page, Eddie Kingston, Swerve, Osprey, Omega, Okada, Claudio, Moxley, FTR, Young Bucks. Like, those are all people that I've never touched. Yeah. That's insane.
Incredible to think of as fans of wrestling out there.
Kind of crazy,
this.
right?
Oh, my goodness.
But the one that seems like the craziest is me and Samoa Joe. Like, how that hasn't happened.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It feels like that's coming.
It feels like it could be.
Could be. Here we go.
You've
got an I Quit match with Christian Cage for the title.
Yes.
Favorite stipulation for a match outside of an I Quit match, let's say.
Yeah, because the I Quit match is up there.
Yeah.
I think
You've had some iconic ones.
It's a really fun concept. Man, I'm obviously partial to ladder matches and TLC matches. You know, the TLC always has a special spot in my heart because, you know, the Sickos created that.
Last two questions for you.
Okay.
Favorite road city to come to outside of Toronto when you're in Canada?
In Canada?
Yeah.
Vancouver.
Vancouver.
Yeah. I love Vancouver. I love Calgary. Gosh, I love Edmonton too. I mean,
It's tough to pick one.
It
I'm
is
putting you on the spot here.
because also it's like I love Halifax.
Yeah.
Like, man, I don't know. It's tough.
A lot of great places, and Vancouver AEW for the first time later
Yes.
in May, which is going to be awesome. I know so many people are excited about that one. And then last one I'll go with wrestler, or rather hockey player, that you think would have the best in-ring presence if they wanted to try out wrestling, if they wanted to give it a go.
So like current day? Probably Brent Burns.
Ooh, I like that a lot.
Yeah, I think Burnsy would probably be the current guy. I mean, you could throw Rempe in there too, you know, with the juggernaut that he's been these first few games. Yeah, I'm going to go with those guys. But then there's always a place for the Marchand of the world.
Absolutely.
Right?
Especially in the wrestling
Yes,
world.
right? Like he
kinda fits
harkens
right in.
back to the Ken Linsman and that era of player. So he could be pretty good too.
I could see him being a great manager as well for someone
Yes.
that would just love to talk and
Yes.
love to hide behind someone.
Yes.
And everyone would love to see him get hit, which I feel like is also everyone loves to see him get hit in hockey too.
True, very true. Like he's figured out how to be the antagonist
Absolutely.
and also make it work.
And have the fan, because that's when you're doing it right, when you got people that
Yes.
hate you and people
And
that
love
love
you
the
and
antagonism.
swear by you.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
This has been Fast Five with Adam Copeland.
Hey.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The thing is, I really don't get to see Luca light up like this unless he's talking about wrestling, so this is a special moment. And just a reminder, you can watch AEW Dynamite from Toronto tonight on TSN. Coverage begins at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. And we finish with some big news from the F1 world. As Toronto is the host city in North America for Formula One Exhibition Toronto presented by TSN. It opens May 3rd, and this exhibit will have everything for the F1 fan, including old cars from different eras and never-before-seen artifacts and video. And this next thing really leans into the gamer in me, because visitors can also feel like what it's like to get behind the wheel of an F1 car in a state-of-the-art racing simulator. See, because I've had a racing simulator before, but it was just a wheel and a gear on a desk, okay? This is different. This is a full rig. This is exciting. This Formula One exhibition has happened a couple times in Europe already, and the reviews were unreal. So if you're any kind of racing fan, you definitely want to check out Formula One Exhibition Toronto presented by TSN. Pre-sale tickets go on sale March 26th. To register, go to f1exhibition.ca or just click the link below. And hey, you never know, maybe we can meet each other there. I'm gonna be hanging around, getting content, trying the simulator. We're gonna have fun. That's it for me today. Julia will be stepping in tomorrow. I'm heading over to Saskatchewan for just a minute. We'll see you soon.